Good evening. Welcome to Northbeat. I'm Megan Roberts. An Iqaluit father and his partner are speaking out after his young daughter was misdiagnosed at school with tuberculosis. She was administered TB medication over 3 months without her parents' knowledge. The CBC's TJ Deer has their story.
When Jafar Jabera found out his 8-year-old daughter was given TB medication at school, he was shocked. Even more shocking was that she didn't have TB.
I'm sad that I let my daughter down and I wasn't told about this or given any consent. Like, I'm the parent, and they took my daughter away and they gave her medication without informing me and continued to do so behind a parent's back.
Jabera says his daughter was given 5 doses from a public health assistant over 3 months as part of a screening clinic at Jomi's school late last year, but he said he was only told about it in January. In an email obtained by CBC News dated January 24th, addressed to Jabera and his partner Nicola Titi, the manager of Iqaluit Public Health, or IPH, told the couple a day after finding out what happened. They met with IPH the day after and were offered a TB test. Since then, the couple say they haven't heard from IPH. For Atiti, the current system reminds her of similar practices that existed in residential schools. She calls it ongoing colonization.
How can I feel confident in sending children to school or confident in going to the hospital when our experiences have been so horrible?
The Department of Education declined interview requests, and the Department of Health declined to comment on Jabera's daughter's case. But Nunavut's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Sean Wachtel, did say an internal review of TB processes is underway.
We are endeavouring to do things very differently now, whilst recognising trauma from the past that is still present, yet still try to effectively treat the disease.
While IPH promised to no longer give medicine at school, Atiti and Jabera said it should have never happened, adding that they want policies changed and people to face consequences. TJ Deer, CBC News, Iqaluit.
The Northwest Territories government is looking for feedback on a draft management plan of the territory's newest national park. The THN Indigenous Protected Area also includes a territorial wildlife conservation area and a territorial protected area. Luke Carroll reports.
The draft plan includes restricting several areas from the public. These are largely areas of significant cultural importance to the Letzelkay Dene. This includes Desneche, an area used every summer for spiritual gatherings for people from Letzelkay. There is also Zenkeen, or Rat Lodge, and Sakeen, or Beaver Lodge, which are considered sacred. Finally, an island in Timber Bay, where Gudale, a powerful medicine man, is buried. The operations of the park are the responsibility of the Letzelkay Dene First Nation, Northwest Territories Métis Nation, Parks Canada, and the Government of the Northwest Territories. There are other areas that will require a guide or approval to visit. These include several former village sites on the Lockhart River and in Timber Bay. The Tyendene Nene Indigenous Protected Area covers over 26,000 square kilometers. If approved, the plan would be in effect until 2034. There will be several public consultation sessions on the proposed plan. This includes one in Fort Smith on April 9th, in Fort Resolution on April 10th, and in Hay River on April 11th. Luke Carroll, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Lawyers for Ron Barless are laying out their defense in a Yellowknife courtroom this week, and they want to go to trial. The CEO is accused of funneling close to $12 million of Letzelkay Dene First Nation money into his own companies. Now, lawyers say there's some serious problems with previous evidence. Robert Holden reports.
Mr. Barless, CBC News, any response to the allegations?
It's before the courts right now, so.
And in court, his lawyers are taking aim at the initial whistleblower against Barless, Iqbal Bhatti. They say Bhatti is currently being investigated for fraud and that this was left out of the original affidavit. They say the bulk of accusations had originated from Bhatti and not from the community. They describe Bhatti as having a personal vendetta against Barless after being fired from LKDFN. Lawyers are painting Barless as eccentric and larger than life, but say he never engaged in illegal activity, and his activities as CEO were continually approved by a board. Prior to his employment in 2014, the defense said LKDFN was generating $300,000 annually in revenue. In the 3 following years under Barless, they say that increased to almost $4 million, and he appropriately adjusted his salary and bonuses. Ron Barless's assets have been frozen for close to a year. He's currently relying on money released by the court. His defense will continue this week as his lawyers push for a full trial. Robert Holden, CBC News, Yellowknife.
This week marks the 25th anniversary of Nunavut, a big milestone for an ever-evolving territory. For the anniversary, I spoke to Tuguk Curley, one of the founding fathers of Nunavut, and during that conversation, I asked him where he was on April 1st, 1999, when the territory became a reality. Here's what he said.
The most significant part of that concept was during the when the final negotiations time in Ottawa for the land claims was finally settled late into the night, middle of the night. When we say middle of the night, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when the concept of land claims was agreed to initial by those of us that were negotiating, and all our team from the regions were there, all our lawyers as well as the federal government side, and the compensation part was the last one because that was significant to begin to roll into Inuit coffers and Nunavut Trust for 20-year period, spread over 20-year period. When that was done, as far as Inuit was concerned, we were ready to surrender it, Aboriginal title, settle that, providing that the federal government agree to table legislation to divide the territories. So that was a conditional offer that we made to the federal government because it wasn't negotiable, but we said to Mr. Tom Sidden, okay, now that we can sign off the deal, could you guys agree to at the same time on a separate bill from the land claims, table a law that would create a division of the territory? That was the most significant to me. That was about 1993. But in terms of the 6 years later, when the April 1, 99, because we needed that time to spread out what kind of government or the administrative system should be. These were taken granted already in our view. The concept was that the federal government agreed to divide the territory. We needed yes or no. The federal government offered the first time. They said, we'll agree to revisit the idea of division in 7 years' time down the road. We said that's not good enough. We need a commitment now when it should happen. And 1999 was chosen, 6 years to work at it. But the legislation would be tabled practically about the same time as the land claims agreement was
we are
tabled
giving all
in
children
the
across
House of
Nunavut
Commons.
a
So
very
that was
special
very
gift.
significant on
It
it.
is a
But
gift
in
that I
terms
hope
of
will be a
April
bright
1,
future.
the festivities, I was not actively involved in that. These were, like I said, taken for granted. They were going to happen. What happened personally to my late wife and I during that particular period, April 1 to 4, his dear brother was missing out on the land in Baker Lake. And we could very well sleep and participate in joyful events that were happening. So we stayed at home, and then when he was found, it took few hours that he did not make it. So it was kind of very difficult for my late father and myself and our relatives. So we choose to stay home at the festivities that were occurring. But the idea had already been achieved, and that was the most important thing. And the Nunavut flag was beginning to be raised at the Legislative Assembly flagpoles on April 1. So that was most significant. We were excited about it.
That was Tagak Curley reflecting on major Nunavut milestones in 1993 and 99. There's a municipal by-election coming to Enterprise NWT. Residents will vote in May to fill council seats left vacant after several would-be councillors resigned last month. The last election was in February. That's when Sandra McMaster was voted in as mayor. 3 councillors resigned before being sworn in, and a 4th sitting councillor later joined them. One of them told CBC they didn't have confidence in McMaster to lead the hamlet as it recovers from last year's wildfire. Nominations for the by-election are open until April 15th, and voting day is May 6th. As part of the upcoming federal budget, the government is committing to creating a national school food program. It says the $1 billion budget will feed 400,000 children a year. Cabinet ministers are traveling across Canada promoting what will be in the budget. The Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations says the government recognizes that food insecurity is a big problem in Nunavut.
Roughly 43% of young people are insecure in terms of food, consistent food availability at an affordable price, and the school food program will enable many of those young people to have more security for food, especially breakfast programs.
Ananda Sangri also acknowledges that housing in the north is another big issue. He says it's a key component of the Liberals' supply and confidence deal with the NDP. The minister says they're about to hire an intermediary who will distribute funds allocated to housing. The full federal budget will be delivered on April 16th. The winter road season is quickly drawing to a close. The NWT Department of Infrastructure announced that the roads to Wekwati and Gamati will be may be closing for the season on Saturday. Right now, they're open but restricted to nighttime driving only. The Wekwati Winter Road has been open for less than 2 weeks. The winter roads to the Sawtoo communities have already closed. So has the road to Trout Lake and to Fort Chipewyan. Now, of course, winter roads always close, but the increasingly warming weather has people in Fort Chip worried about the looming end of the road. Jamie Melbeth has that story.
For an isolated fly-in, fly-out community like Fort Chipewyan in northeastern Alberta, the seasonal winter road is a lifeline for things like fuel and groceries.
So we use the winter road for our business annually, using it to haul in about 60% of our food product that is not subsidized by the Canadian government.
People also rely on the road to get to medical appointments, stock up on supplies, and visit friends and family. In the past, the winter road typically opened sometime in early December and remained in use until mid-March, but that window is changing.
What we're finding now, just due to warmer temperatures, it's typically not until the end of December, mid to the end of December. And it's, 10 years ago, it could have been a 110-day season. Now we're looking at around a 90-day season.
Data from the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo shows winter road season has been trending downwards over the past decade. The shortest recent season was in 2020, when the road was open for just 82 days.
If it keeps going at the rate we're going, we're probably not going to have a winter road in 10 years.
While there will be years where the weather is particularly hot or cold, the overall trend is warming.
We've seen warming across Canada in the winter, but the warming has been strongest in the north and west of the country, including northern Alberta. And so over that period, we've seen something like 5 degrees Celsius of warming.
Gillett says the trend in warming is expected to continue, and that has people in Fort Chipewyan concerned about the future.
During this winter, it was minus 20 for a stretch, and then we went into plus 8. and that in itself causes issues. Fluctuates the load limits on the roads, and it does cause issues and temporary closures.
McCurdy says the community has talked about building a permanent road for as long as he can remember, but now the need feels more urgent.
Climate change is a factor, is a major factor for a push for a year-round road. That kind of that puts a lot of fear and push for this, for us to try to figure something out for a year-round road, because it's getting closer and closer to the point of not having enough snow for a winter road.
But that permanent road is unlikely to come anytime soon. The topography in the area doesn't allow for easy construction, and there's no clear and simple path. So for now, people in Fort Chipewyan will have to wait and adapt to the shorter winter road season. Jamie Malbuff, CBC News, Fort McMurray.
Spring is certainly here, which means the sun is shining longer, you can feel its warmth, and all that heat is melting the snow and revealing what can lie beneath: snow mold. Anyone who suffers from allergies may be feeling that impact. The CBC's David Mercer asked experts for helpful information on how to deal with the fungus.
Snow mold has been in my life most of my time in horticulture. It seems to appear on vast expanses of lawns. As the snow melts, we get more and more hours of sunshine, and that just causes the snow shelf to reflect back into the grass, and that causes the molds that are active in soil, some of the things that were there. If you've left a big pile of leaves in the middle of your lawn, you're likely to have snow mold under it. It's very close carpeting to the soil and to the grass, and it is white. It's a white filamentous. It's not like some of the molds you see on your plants. You can actually see the fibers in it.
The problem that we worry about with allergies and asthma is that the spores then get released into the air. And when they're up in the air, you can't really see them, but your nose will pick it up and so will your eyes. And then that's really when you start to develop symptoms. Achoo! Itchy, watery eyes, runny nose, stuffy, sneezy. They're the nuisance type symptoms that we talk about when people have hay fever. And those are the exact same type of symptoms that you will have if you are allergic to snow molds or mold spores that are in the environment. More concerningly, some patients can develop asthma symptoms. They can get coughing, wheezing, and shorter breath.
The best way to remove snow mold is with a broom. I have a straw broom. If you haven't got one of those, what you want to have is perhaps a leaf rake. Springtime, it's literally got springs and tines coming down, and you just gently pull it away and get it off of there. It doesn't interfere with the thatch in your lawn. If you're allergic, wear a mask.
Kinga diwaling mulu pangolo asyang miu muna toy muina daily takpa kemuk sa palilok sa mga tayo mabuhat taling ni pilariulok sa mga inuit amichwalu walang mata.
Priya doesn't love exercising, but loves the way it makes her feel. Max doesn't love cooking, but loves homemade meals with his kids. Paul doesn't love doing his taxes, but loves getting the benefits and credits he qualified for. Learn more about benefits and credits like the GST HST credit and Canada Workers Benefit at canada.ca/every dollar counts. A message from the Government of Canada.
Sipping on a bit of Henny. Can I get a little Remy? Feeling heavy, chilling but I'm feeling ready. Pulled up in a big old Chevy.
Welcome back. Our next story takes us into the world of Fortnite, Super Mario, and Minecraft, where Yukoners are playing to be champions. Over the Easter weekend, more than 1,000 players from around the world met in Vancouver for an esports tournament called Battle of BC6. And for the first time, an organized Team Yukon was there. 8 players from the territory traveled to compete against international opponents. Brandon Weekey says it's the best way to get young people out of their shells. The president of Yukon Esports Alliance says while video games used to have a bad reputation, now everyone is playing, and more benefits are being recognized.
It's really rewarding no matter what age you are to get to, go to toe-to-toe with the world's best players and see how you stack up. And it really motivates for improvement too. And so that's, I think, so important to our young people, whatever their passions are, be they sports, be they art, be they video games, to have a mindset of ever improving and always learning new things and developing your skills in whatever your passions are.
Team Yukon's best result was 97th out of 500 players. More than 200 musical artists are calling for protections against artificial intelligence technology, including some of the biggest names in the industry, from Sheryl Crow to the estate of Frank Sinatra. They've signed an open letter to tech companies, developers, and digital music services, asking them to stop using AI to undermine or replace human songwriters and artists. Eli Glasner has more.
Is it beyond intelligence, as if the soul need not exist?
That's a little taste of Evolution, a new song from Sheryl Crow where she explores her concerns around the use of artificial intelligence in the music industry. Now, Crow is part of a group of more than 200 artists who are now calling on AI developers and technology companies to stop using AI to undermine or devalue their work. Now, the letter is from an organization called Artists' Rights Alliance. Other artists lending their support include Elvis Costello, Nicki Minaj, the estate of Frank Sinatra, and Canadian artists such as the Arkells and Diana Krall. In a recent interview with Tom Power on Q, the musician Sheryl Crow talked about her concerns over AI and its use, increasing use in the music industry.
You know, it terrifies me that artists can be brought back from the dead. It terrifies me that I can sing to you a song that I had absolutely nothing to do with, and you'll believe it.
Jen Jacobson is the executive director of the group that organized the letter. She says that AI is also a concern for estates managing the rights of artists such as Frank Sinatra.
A lot of that royalty potential is being cut into by AI in various ways. You know, sometimes we're seeing now these deep fakes and voice clones where people are taking a famous artist and exploiting their likeness that way.
And with the abilities of AI software increasing, musicians already struggling with decreasing income from music streaming rights are worried about being replaced. Tiff Merritt is an Americana musician.
I've spent 25 years honing my touch, my voice, my point of view, my writing sensibilities, and that's now being used to train AI to imitate and replace me. And robots do not get royalties. Their content is free.
Organizers and artists are calling on AI developers and technology companies to work with artists ethically so that this technology doesn't further devalue their work. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
A decades-old mystery has been solved at a construction site in Penticton, BC. When a backhoe dug up a 60-year-old wallet, workers stepped in and made a connection to the original owner. CBC spoke with the worker who found the wallet and the owner's 90-year-old widow. Take a listen.
We're gonna go get the wallet. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Roger's wallet.
I remember that wallet.
Like it's got his name
stamped right here, eh?
The operator was just literally peeling back the soil. As he peeled back, I guess the wallet unfolded. Didn't look like it was dirt or a rock, so I had to go investigate. So I grabbed my shovel and went and cleaned off the dirt. I noticed it had a name in it. We find a lot of things in the ground, but at the end of the day, nothing really has a name or a meaning to it, right? So I thought, well, what the heck? I'll see if I can find this guy. And that's how the journey started.
When I heard about it, I said to Danny, we have to go. I have to meet that gentleman, we have to go. We owe it to Dad. He was always a firm believer that you never leave a job undone. So he always saw it to the end. And this is the ending of that job because his wallet was still there, so he had to get it.
And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, you can always go to our website, cbc.ca/north. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a good night.
Priya doesn't love exercising, but loves the way it makes her feel. Max doesn't love cooking, but loves homemade meals with his kids. Paul doesn't love doing his taxes, but loves getting the benefits and credits he qualified for. Learn more about benefits and credits like the GST-HST credit and Canada Workers Benefit at canada.ca/every dollar counts. A message from the Government of Canada.
What happens when we transform the country into one massive obstacle course? 20 total strangers are about to find out.
Okay, game on!
Relationships will be forged and crushed.
I want to rip their heads up.
In an all-out battle for glory.
Oh my God! I'm glad that there's cameras around. Yeah, me too. Zoom it in, replay.
Only one thing's for sure. They are not ready for what's coming.
Let's go, baby!
So good.
Please be careful.
I'm excited, dude.
Me too.
We're back with Crime Scene Kitchen.
It's a bold choice. Yes, honey. It's a very straightforward recipe. This is going to be an absolute showstopper. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Woo! Yeah. I murdered a donut.
That's a crime scene.
I'm such a fan of this show.
Listen to the podcast, Q with Tom Power.
The story itself is so unbelievable.
The industry wasn't set up for me to thrive in.
The presence I feel now is not something that I believed to be possible in the past.
So many people thought I couldn't do it. They doubted me.
I felt like I ripped my whole heart out.
I didn't realize how formative 25 to 30 would be.
I have to kind of repress my own self-doubt.
You're one of my favorite interviewers, so I was pumped.
Get out of here.
Q with Tom Power. Available now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello.
Dad is the master of marketing.
So handsome, both of them. How big is my face? Bigger.
Dad's a superstar wherever he goes. 2, 1.
Go back to
Daddy, marketing works.
Her particular skill set can be helpful to us.
She's a con artist.
I need to get off that boat and back to being a full-time detective, and you need to stay out of prison. The best way we do that is to keep our heads down and do as we're told.
with Andrew Chang.
I think we can explain.
Watch free on CBC Gem.